Hello, welcome to Board Games with Niramas, and today it's time for a run-through of the game T.I.M.E Stories. Now, T.I.M E Stories is a bit special to do a run-through for because it's sort of a game where you only play it once, really, because then when you play it, it's so story-driven that once you played it, you know how it ends and you know how to solve riddles and puzzles and so on. So it's hard to do a run-through without spoilers. So this first part here, part one, is going to be totally spoiler free in the sense that I'm just going to show the board, I'm just going to show cards, the back of the cards, I'm going to explain how the game works. Then in part two, I'm going to do some spoilers. I'm just going to show, I don't know, like 5% of the game or not even that. So if you just want to check out how the game works and get sort of a talk through mostly of it, then just keep watching. Once we get to the spoiler parts, I'm going to show and say it really, out loud, so you're not going to be able to accidentally see something that you don't want to see. Alright, so this game board looks like this. It's quite big. And we have a few different items here to talk about. Up here we have the plan cards, which is the map. And as you can see, I'm not going to show it right now. And this game comes with one scenario or one story to be played, which is Asylum. Sort of a bit of horror themed. It's in the early, I think, 1920s, and it's in a mental institution in France. And then the game, you can buy expansions for the game. Right now there's 3 of them out, and there's one almost out. I'm not really sure where it's at right now, but it's coming soon. And when you buy an expansion, it's sort of like you get another deck of cards, which are these scenario. And so they have different themes. The second one, without spoiling, I can say that it's a kidnapping case where you go back to the 1997, I think, or something like that, 1993 perhaps. And you try to solve this case. And in the third one, it's sort of a medieval theme, fantasy theme, and then in the fourth one it's ancient Egypt. And I only played the first 2 so far. I've gotten the other ones, but I haven't gotten around to play them yet. So I'm just gonna talk about the first one here, really, the Asylum one. And let's see. Okay, so this game, the game board, you could say, consists of these spaces from A to H. And what you do is you put out cards here, which will form a room or scenario of some kind. And then you have your player markers, which are these guys. And then you would, let's say you're the green player, you would go to one of these spaces by putting your marker up here to indicate which card you're going to be able to look at. And the really neat thing about this game, and the thing that really makes it, in my opinion, really good, is that when I go here, let's say we have a card here. I'm just going to grab a icon reference card just to show you. Let's say I go here, I'm the green player. I would look at this card, right? And I would see, maybe I'm just making things up now, so don't worry, it's no spoilers. Let's say I was looking at a painting of a horse, and the horse is running on a field and so on the painting. Then I would put the card down, and I would have to tell the other players what I saw. I would have to tell them, I saw this picture, was a horse running on a field, and there was a tree in the background, and a fence, and the fence, and maybe that could be a clue to something, because later on in the game, you might find someone that tells you to, maybe you need a code to open a lock, and someone tells you that the clue to the code is the I don't know, the direction of the horse running. Maybe you should turn it to the left, the code lock, because the horse was running to the left, something like that. So it's a bit of you have to sort of remember what you see, and you have to talk about it with your fellow players. And some people take notes during the game. I would say you shouldn't do that, really. I mean, or at least not detailed notes, because then you're going to ruin some of the experience. In my opinion, you should try to just take maybe basic notes. Because the thing with this game is you have this board here with the timestamps on them up here, and you have this little marker, and let's say, I mean, somewhere over here, like say 30, 35, let's say you start at 35 time units, is what this is called. Then as you do different things in the game, fight a monster, solve a puzzle of some kind, open a box, and so on, things are going to take time, so you're going to move this time units. And once you get down to 0 over here, then you're out of time, and you're going to have a mission fail because of you ran out of time. And then you go back and play the game again, and you start in the same spot, in the same, you're gonna see the same cards all over again, and you're gonna get, you know, new time going here. And it might sound weird, but that's the whole beauty of the game. It's sort of like Groundhog Day, if you have seen the movie. You get back to the same point in time because you're time travelers, right? I haven't really gone into that, but we're, as players, we're time travelers, but we're not going back in time physically. We're using people that actually lived in that time, and we go into their minds, sort of. So they are receptacles. We take control of their bodies, and we can live through them. But we can only do that for a certain amount of time, because then our technology can't handle it anymore. So when you get back to the same on your second time you play, because you're without, I mean, that's not a big spoiler, you're not gonna finish the game in one run, pretty much. You're gonna have to spend more runs than that. And so when you get back to the same point, then you know, perhaps, you know, this, you already know there was a horse running in the fields on the picture here. You don't need to spend time going and looking at it. So you can sort of sweep through and get to the parts where you haven't explored yet. So it's and I can really recommend you to, if possible, play the one scenario in one evening. I mean, maybe, I don't know, 4 or 5 hours. Because if you have like 1 or 2 weeks in between your runs, then it might be a bit harder because you have to remember stuff. Also, this game box comes with quite interesting sort of save system. Oh, here's the second one, the Marcy case. You can keep 2 scenarios in the box, and so here you can sort of save. You can put the time marker on where you were, and you can put your cards here and so on. So you can save the game in mid-game if you want to. But if you do a full run, you don't really need to save it, really, because then you will start over anyway. Some cards will remain. You could find something with this blue symbol here. If the symbol is on a card, then that card will remain. It could be an item you find that you will keep for your next run, or some information, or so on. You also have this area here where you can put some tokens. Let's say you find this yellow token, and you'll have it here. That's a way for the game to know what you've been doing, because let's say you look at this, we go back to this again, you look at the painting, and because you have seen the painting of the horse, then you get this token. Then later on, a card might tell you, if you have this token, then this happens. And that's because then the game knows that you have been looking at the painting. So it's a really smart system for the game to sort of keep track of what's happening and what you're doing and where you're at in the game. And some of these will actually remain during the runs. And let's see, then we have these small counterparts for the, let's say this is your character marker, and this little one is just to keep track down here which character you are if you have a character card. But also, if you would die, which could happen, your receptacle die, then you will put this 7. If you're here, then you will just put it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You put it here, and once the time passes and you get here, then you will be back again, because then they reloaded the machine or something, so you can jump back into your receptacle. So that's quite neat. And then we have some dice. Not the best dice, I would say. They are very, very light. I don't really like them, to be honest. But they work. You have hits, which are these blue ones. You can get like 1 or 2 hits. So let's say you were fighting a monster or doing some kind of task, then you would roll dice depending on which character you are. If you have, let's say, if you get a weapon, you might get an extra die because you have a sword that you can hold, and then you will roll them. And let's see, oh yeah, I got 5 successes. Then the monster perhaps have 4 health, then he would die and so on. And you also have the time die here, which is when you move through locations, because you're going to move around up on this map and you're going to move as a group. So this little indicator shows you where you are on the map. When you move to another location, then you're going to spread out a new picture here of cards, scenery, and then you're going to roll this one to see, oh, it took 1 time unit to go there because you had to move. And you take turns being the time captain, it's called, sort of the first player, and that's the guy that has the responsibility to roll this one, and you want to get as low as possible. And there could also be effects, like if you roll 3, then something happens, but that's depending on the scenario. And that's also really nice, because all of these items and all of the stuff in the game are so, you have these tokens of different color, for example. In one scenario, this could be like a med pack, which gives you health. And in another scenario, this might be a herb that you can craft a potion from, and so on. So you get to be able to play so many very different variations, and they're gonna, I mean, of course, they're gonna release a lot of new ones in the years to come, I guess, as well. And so you can sort of play the ones you like. But there is also a storyline running, because you want to play these in order, I think, because there's a main storyline sort of in all of them. I'm not really. I only played 2 of them so far, so I'm not gonna go too much into that. And then you also have another deck over here, which is the item deck, and that's how you get. I mean, it's called items, but it could be a piece of a map, it could be a drawing, it could be a note with text on it, it could be a machine gun, it could be anything. And so you meet something out here, a card that you go to, and then you get to read, oh, take item 22. Then they were just in number order. Then you would take the number 22, and it could be anything pretty much. Depending on the theme, of course, where you're at in the game. I mean, if you go to let's say we can do one example here, last one before I go to the next part. Let's say we had this card here, and this one, by the way, is just icon reference for the Asylum. It shows that what these different symbols means in this game. I mean here, oh, this is actually for the Marty case. Never mind. It ended up in the wrong pile. It doesn't really matter. You just have a card. We can take this card, which is just the Asylum, do not open before reading the rules. Let's say this one was out here, and the yellow player went to it, and the yellow player looks at it, and oh, it's a man here, an older man that you meet, and this man is very friendly. He gives you something. He gives you item 2. Let's say. And I'll go over here, and I will take item 2. Now I'm not going to show this to you, of course. And so you take item 2, and let's say this, oh, he gave you a basket full of apples. Oh, nice. Then you can perhaps later on use these apples or something. Maybe you can eat them to restore health, or you could, maybe you meet the horse, from the painting. You can give him apples, and that would make him happy, and you can ride him, or something. I'm just making all of this up. And I really like this graphic, like this Asylum, because we're in an asylum, right? Then we have this address here on the walls. And those vary from scenario to scenario, of course. So that was sort of the spoiler-free section. I think I'm going to move on to the spoiler section, because I can show a bit more there. And if you haven't played the game and you're curious about it, I would say don't be too afraid to watch the next part, because I'm not going to show a lot of things, not at all. I'm just going to show a few things to show you how it might look and how the sort of first room looks. And I mean, even if you watch that, you will still have a great time playing the whole of the game, because yeah. Alright, so if you want to, you can just go to the second part here, which will be spoilers, by the way. And if you feel like, okay, you got some sense for the game, you're pretty happy with what you saw, then I just hope, you know, you will like the video and just do the subscription to the channel. Tell your friends about it. Tell me in the comments if I missed something, or if you have any ideas for how to improve the channel. And I will see you later. Take care. Bye bye.